So, since this blog is supposed to basically be about what I'm rambling about, wait, my glasses are really, really glary. I kind of look like a robot. In this blog, we will discuss... Okay, I'm going to stop that. I'm actually going to take my glasses off. And you can see how pretty my eye makeup is. You see, because I did my makeup because I was playing dress up. And while I was playing dress up, I had this thought. And I thought, what if, the political world was like done entirely of fish? Because some of them kind of look like fish, and they act like fish in certain very specific ways. And, bush fish is obvious. He'd obviously be a moray eel. Because, they're evil, and they come out of little holes, and they look mean, and they come after you and eat your fish. And, there are peacemaker fish, like probably Obama would be a really nice dolphin. He's very intelligent, got all these ideas and all of that, and wants to change things. And, then you have, like, all of the political situations that are going on right now. Now, let me point out something to people who do not know me very well. I know nothing about politics. I have this weird tangential relationship where I hear little bits and pieces from people like my parents and my friends and tiny little articles that I might accidentally end up with on the internet. I do not in and of myself ever watch the news or find out anything about the news. I stay the hell away from current events and modern culture because the second I start paying attention, I get so stressed out and so upset and so angry because I just want to shake everyone and make them behave. And it's like, why can't you people just act like human beings and treat each other decently? Why on God's green earth are you out there doing the things that you think you're going to do that make sense to you, like including morality into political decisions when we have the separation of church and state thing? That's not the point. The point is fish. Okay? So I was thinking about as if they were fish. And, we have a situation where our coral reef, being our credit and banking system, is under serious attack via pollution, which is these bad home loans, okay? See, so, we have the housing bubble, and we have all of that has been the pollutions that is eating away at the coral reef, which is our, banking and economic system in this country. Okay, so a whole bunch of fish get together, and they decide, okay, we're going to help the reef. We're going to try to bring more creatures into the reef, more corals. We're going to give, this to these people to, we're going to put this back into the reef. We're going to put some oil drums there so the coral can grow. We're going to help the reef rebuild. In doing this, we're going to give a lot of our resources. We're going to save up stuff. We're going to send fish there, that kind of thing. I know this is not the best metaphor, but it has to do with fish. So we basically reinforce this coral reef. The dolphins and the other smart fish decide that this is a good idea. And they send all of this stuff to the people that have been managing the reef, which are these starfish that have been, taking care of the reef all this time, these sharks and starfish. And what they do is they say, oh, well, there's all this fish coming in, and yeah, we're supposed to use it to, restore the reef. But in order to restore the reef, we have to make sure we're well fed, so we're going to eat all the fish. We're just going to take about 90% of that fish and eat it. Because, we're sharks, and that's what we do. We just eat. We have no sense of community and no sense of caring about the other fish or about the reef itself. We just live on it. We suck on it. We suck it dry. And the starfish are the same way, being the lower level, people that are basically going along with us, signing the memos and stuff after the fat cats do something about it. Or the sharks, as it were. And the starfish are actually eating away at the reef itself, and they're more like the policy makers. And, then you have just all the various remores that are, the little sycophants that are political figures that are stuck. A lot of politicians and congressmen and people that let this shit slide and make these policies are very much like remores. They stick to where they're getting fed, which would be these sharks, these, predators that are out there that have no notion of saving anyone. All they're doing is, these remores are stuck to them and following along where they go. So, we have, like, if you look at it in a way, politics is fish. And we have overfished our political waters through such specialization that we're running out of, like, decent politicians. They can't compete anymore because there's all this overfeeding. What we really need, what we need, is a giant squid. We need an Architeuthis to come in, eat all of the politicians, eat all of the sharks, take out some of those killer whales, and then there would be the space for the, fertile common fish to have a voice and to grow in power and perhaps set up a better system. But until we get this giant squid to come in and unite all the lower fish with a common enemy, we're always going to be ruled by these bigger, more aggressive fish that are louder because we're afraid to rock the boat. Because as long as we have our big screen TV or, kelp tree or our anemone or, anemone. See, it makes sense. As long as we have these things, we as standard Americans are complacent. We're a bunch of sheeple. We don't do anything besides bah about the issues. It's like, oh, we don't like what's going on. Bah. It has about that much effect. Seriously, people. A lot of your blogging. Bah. That's all that's going to get done from it. And there isn't enough of a motivation. Nothing has gotten bad enough for the human people, for the American people. Nothing has gotten bad enough for us to stand up and rise up as a nation and go, fuck you, we're not doing this anymore. We're not listening to you. This has to be fixed. A lot of people are really hoping Obama's going to make some major changes, and I'm sure he will. I'm sure he's going to be a very good president because, quite frankly, he could get up on stage and throw toxic poo at people and he would appear to be, a peacemaker compared to Bush. But, when you have this political structure, see, and it's the structure that's really has fallen apart, and the nation isn't serving the purposes of the Constitution. The federal government is far, far overpowered based on what powers it was supposed to have in the Constitution. The states do not have the same rights that they were supposed to. This nation was not, I don't care what anyone says, this nation was not founded on Christian principles. If you go back and actually read some of the original writings done by the founding fathers of this country, they did not want the religious persecution that they had faced in England, where they were, rebelling from. They didn't want this to become England where there was one church and the state sanctioned it and you couldn't do anything else. No. They wanted a place where people could come and worship as they saw fit. So how is separation of church and state breaking down at this point? And how can you say, oh, well, this nation was founded on Christian principles? No, this was not a Christian nation. This was not founded to be a Christian nation. If you want to make it a Christian nation, fine, step up and do so and say, take a lighter to the Constitution and say, fuck this, we're going to do it our way, which is basically what everybody's trying to do. Slowly but surely, as they're taking away our freedoms, they're taking away our powers, and you know what? We're giving them away. We're just giving them away. We're saying, I would rather be complacent. I would rather know that my big screen television is safe and that my iPod's going to keep playing than actually have to, have personal freedoms. I'm willing to give up a lot for my, security. And security is very important. And it is one of the major things that a government's supposed to provide. But, come on, people. We now need protection from our own government. And when it gets like that, but there's never going to be a revolution in America. People talk about this. Oh, there's going to be a revolution. No, there's not. No, there's not. The average American, Joe Carpenter or Joe Sixpack or whatever it was they were calling it, that average guy is not going to rise up. Because the second you rise up, especially in any kind of extreme rebellion, the second you rise up, all your property is at risk. Everything you have is at risk. And you have to be willing to lay down everything you own and your lives for a better way of life. And things have not gotten bad enough here to where people are going to be willing to do that. So that whole discussion of a revolution needs to be pushed aside. And, I think it would be more important to say, what about the fish? What are we going to do about all of these fish? Is this a catch and release program? Are we going to, just let the politicians run wild while the rest of us just school around and do whatever? Or are we actually going to become sharks ourselves? Maybe some of us should grow teeth. Maybe some of us should evolve to the point where we have tentacles so that we don't need Architeuthis to come in, so that we can just say, hey, you know what? I have power. And we can give ourselves that power if enough of us get together. So the entire point of this was actually about how politicians and the political situation is like fish. And so take it all, the rest of it, with a grain of salt, because we started out talking about